Brian Pearson. I'm here at the Clayton George Memorial. We're going to go for a ride. You brought a beautiful car. Is this your car?
This is my car.
What is it?
It's a 91 Buick Roadmaster Eagle Industries coach. It's the extended coach. Small block Chev basically in it. We've done a little bit of massaging on the engine, so it's kind of quick and loud and a little obnoxious, but it's basically the way I found it at the Holbush Funeral Home in Burlington, Washington. It was their service car up until about 8 years ago.
Well, Brian, when I pass away, I'm going to call you up. I want to drive. I want to go in this car.
We'll get you there on time.
I bet. Thank you so much, Brian.
You're welcome. Thank you.
We're talking to the president of the Fourth Corner Elites, Mike Brownrigg, and we're here for a special occasion for Clayton George, aren't we?
Yes.
How long was Clayton a member?
Long before I was. I've been a member 10 years, and he goes way back. He was a special kind of a guy. He had a car collection. He had 19 cars, and a lot of them were top of the line, you know, one of 200 or, you know, stuff like that. And couldn't meet a better guy. I went to a lot of cruises with him, and he had 2 or 3 police cars, and I'd be following him down the freeway, and these guys would be coming to pass us, and they'd see Clayton's police car, and they just back up and kind of check their speed and then continue on slowly. But you couldn't meet a nicer guy. Just special.
And this is one of his cars right here.
Yes.
A Hertz Penske GT. I've never heard of a Hertz Penske GT. What is it all about, you know?
It's Shelby converted the Mustangs into Shelby Mustangs, and Hertz company bought a bunch of them, and they actually rented them out. And of course they ran into a lot of problems. People wanted to race them, and they actually stole parts from them, traded parts. So there's not too many of them around. Most of them have been wrecked and not taken good care of. This is an exceptional one. This is a Penske. And
Roger Penske, sure.
did the same thing. That's the automobile racing. You see Penske cars racing it, the Indy 500 and whatnot. Well, they did the same thing as Hertz.
And they have a good turnout here at the Fourth Corner Elites and other car clubs, right?
Yeah. There's gearheads, antique car clubs, and guys from down in Stanwood have come to the... We're going to cruise from here out to Long Acres and do the service out there.
Well, thank you so much, Mike.
You're welcome, Leo.
Oh, look at these cars. I know, they're good. I remember one day she was really...
To serve as funeral director today for Clayton George's services. The base honor guard from Joint Base Lewis McCord will post Clayton's urn, and then our officiant Ron Hodges will take over. Thank you for coming today. and Post 7 of Bellingham.
James Hunt. Port arm. Right face. Ready. Aim. Fire. Aim. Aim. Fire. Left face. Ready. Arm.
Things I imagine people could say. If you got anything you'd like to say, we're here today. It's a beautiful day. It's a great day to send him off. You can step up here now and say something. I would appreciate it.
I don't know a lot of you people out there. I do know Clayton. I've known Clayton for probably 25 years. Clayton and O'Donna. I guess we met in the desert, probably is where we met, and we've been friends ever since. They've been over to our place in Chelan. He got him over there for car shows, and a great guy. But I guess one of my greatest memories of Clayton is LaDonna. Because down in the desert, we would have happy hour out behind the trailers once in a while, and we would usually start a big bonfire. Well, by the time we got the big fire going, LaDonna was out looking for Clayton, so all she did was come out in the park and she'd look for the smoke, look for the fire, and there she'd come over and grab Clayton by the back of the neck and drag him home. You've had enough. But we had great times, great memories. I'll never forget the guy. A great guy. Thank you all.
Anyone else like to say something? Come ahead, Mr. Barnes. This is another member of our Elites Car Club.
In my 20s, when I first started getting into classic cars, I met Clayton. And to me, Clayton, he was just that Shelby guy. The car I was never going to be able to afford. I didn't know about his vast collection at that time. And I was building my own collection of cars, buying and selling and trying to find what I liked. And my sister-in-law one day said, "I want a 68 Mustang. Find me a 68 Mustang." So I went on the search. Nothing was going to stop me. I found one in Linden. I went to look at it. I walked into the shop and there was a beautiful red 68 Mustang sitting there, and the guy is showing it to me, and I'm trying to look at, but I'm seeing another Mustang in the back corner. I'm looking in the back corner of his shop and it's all buried, and I go, "What about that car over there?" He goes, "Oh yeah, there's some Canadian wants to buy that. He says he's coming, but he's gonna give me $12,000 or something for it." And I said, as I kept looking at this car for my sister-in-law, I kept getting drawn to this car in the back corner, so I drifted back there. I looked at him finally, he's an old Linden guy, and I said, "What if I wanted to buy that car?" He said, "Well, you got the money, son?" I said, "I can get the money." So I went and got the money and bought the car. It was a 68 California Special. Had low miles on it. It had been wrecked when it was brand new, and it was put back together in Linden, and it sat in his shop most of its life. Once I got that car, I saw Clayton at a car show. All of a sudden things changed between Clayton and I. Now I was a member of the club. And I didn't know he had a California Special, or what you refer to, I think, as a High Desert Special, the other car he had. I didn't know about his collection. He said, "Meet me at my shop, 9 a.m. So I drove to his shop, and he was waiting for me, sitting in his car outside, and he opened up a whole other world I didn't know about in car collecting. And he showed me every one of his cars, and he told me everything about every car, and I'll never forget that, and I'll always be a lifelong friend. And I wish him the best in heaven, and I know a good person was taken from us. Thank you.
Well, how are we doing? Everybody say what they had to say? Clayton and I didn't only go to car shows in Whatcom County. We took the 057 and one of his Mustangs, and we traveled to Lake Chelan. They had a car show over there downtown. They blocked off the street and they blocked off the bridge. First time they ever had a car show. So Clayton and I, we didn't know anything about it. So he took 65 through 79, his class, and I took 49 through 59 in my class. So we decided we're going to come back next year. Well, we didn't do so good that time. But you know, we had the best time just sitting, talking to the people we didn't know, people from different places, different cars, and that's what Clayton enjoyed about a car show, was the people and talking to them. That's the kind of person he was. Thank you so much for letting me talk today, LaDonna. It was an honor, and I just hope everyone think about Clayton tonight in your prayers. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ron. To conclude today's services, we are going to have Amazing Grace performed by Peter Rallstad of the Bellingham Pipe Band.
We really want to thank the Honor Guard and thank them for their service and the military for what they do for us today. Okay. Clayton and Donna were introduced by a friend, Sandy Phelps, when she was 16 years old. They were in front of the Shop and Stop on the corner of Railroad and Magnolia, and Sandy asked him to give them a ride home. LaDonna didn't care for him much. She thought he was arrogant and challenging. Fancy that, right? On subsequent rides, Sandy sat in the middle. But with time, LaDonna got to thinking maybe he was okay, and she moved into the middle beside him. On the first date, they went to a drive-in movie. Clayton had a case of beer in the back of the car, in the trunk, just in case LaDonna was bored. Did he drink any of that beer, LaDonna, or not? Not that night. Okay. There was no proposal. Clayton just kept saying, "Let's get married." Her parents were against her marrying at a young age of 17. But they finally accepted the idea, and she was 19. The wedding took place at home in front of their fireplace. Today marks the anniversary of that special day 65 years ago today. They were married on Saturday. Both newlyweds had to be at work on Monday morning. So the honeymoon was a quick trip to Seattle, but their luck would have it, there was a convention. And no rooms available. They drove all the way back to Mount Vernon to find a room. Did he make that kind of quick trip back then? Oh yeah. They moved into their little house on Elm and Indiana Street, where number one son Rich was born in 1959. Number two son Rob was born in 1961. In the meantime, Clayton started building his first drag boat in the garage and named it Six Pack. But no, not one was enough. So he built another, bigger and faster, and named it Full Party. The family boated and water skied all the local lakes, plus Lake Chelan. When Clayton got the big saltwater boat, Madonna decided that wasn't her cup of tea. But Clayton continued fishing with many friends in the locals. Even more than boats, Clayton loved his cars. We all know that. He had a large collection and was especially proud of his Ford Mustangs. He enjoyed entering them at many local car shows and was a proud member of the Fourth Corner Elites Car Club. In addition to boats and cars, he bought a tour bus with his best friend Russ King, stripped the interior, converted it into a motor coach. It was named by Lana's brother Jerry, Two of Us, because it sounded like two of us, and depicted Clayton and LaDonna traveling the United States together. They also lived in the desert, in the desert as snowbirds. They belonged to the Puget Sounders Motorhome Club and the National Family Motor Coach Association. His other varied interests were duck hunting, bowling, golf. He was a member of the Elks Club and the American Legion. You could frequently find Clayton and LaDonna out on the town, dancing the night away with friends and family. Clayton had many jobs during his working years. He used his gift of gab to become a good salesman and loved delivering and talking with the customers. He worked at Morris Hardware, Columbia Valley, Frito-Lay, Olson Brokerage Country, and Lawson and Peoria, where he retired in 1990 due to an injury. Clayton didn't care for dogs, but he loved his many cats. This one cat named Bailey remains to keep Donna company. Much like her first thoughts of Clayton, LaDonna says, Bailey is a handful. It is his way or no way. And just like Clayton, he's quite a challenge. Thank God for that cat. Even with all his varied interests and activities, his family was what he loved most of all. He adored his 2 granddaughters and 6 great-grandchildren. Clayton was preceded in death by his youngest son, Rob George, on January 25th, 1982, and his parents, Gus and Olga, his in-laws, Max and Alta McCowan, his siblings, Elaine Larson, Maxine Carlsworth, Darlene Mill, Marlis Sullins, Norma and Gary George, and sister-in-law, Christy McClellan. He will be greatly missed by his wife, LaDonna McClellan George, and his son, Rich George, and wife, Lana. Granddaughters, Brittany May and husband, Luke, Lacey Tucker and husband, Bryce, great-grandchildren, Gia, Maddie, Eva, Max, May, Aubrey, and Scarlett Tucker. Brother-in-law, Jerry McClellan, sister-in-law, Vicki George, along with numerous nieces and nephews. Clayton passed away February 2nd, 2021, with LaDonna by his side. LaDonna, would you like to say something?
And I thought this really suited Clayton. God saw you getting tired, and a cure was not to be. So he put his arms around you and whispered, "Come with me." With tearful eyes, we watched you as you slowly slipped away. And though we loved you dearly, we couldn't make you stay. Your golden heart stopped beating, your tired hands put to rest. God broke our hearts to prove to us He only takes the best. I made it through. I wasn't sure if I was going to make it or not.
Fishing trips to, I think it was Lake Wenatchee. LaDonna and Chris was there too with us, but it was cold and it was rainy out. There's about a dozen other small boats on the lake with us. None of us were having much luck catching trout. So I dug into my tackle box and tried out the old standby lure called Ford Fenders. I immediately started to catch fish. I had another set of Ford Fenders in my box, so Clayton rigged up his pole and immediately was quite busy pulling in some trout also. The other fishermen on the lake started noticing our success and our big mess of fish beside our boat, and many of them trolled over to ask us what we were using for lures. But Clayton naturally didn't want to divulge our big top secret, so he would hold up his hands like this to him and yell back, "We're using our wedding rings." One more cute little story. Clayton, LaDonna, my wife Chris, and my friends Dell and Elaine were on a fishing trip together. The 6 of us were all camping together in my 13-foot trailer. And again, the weather was cold, rainy, so we spent a lot of time in that little 13-foot camper having a great time together. And all was fine until bedtime. The bunk up above was only like maybe a double-sized bed. So here's Clayton. He got up there first, then LaDonna, then Christy, then me, all squeezed together in that little bed. There's only enough room for all of us to lay on our sides. We naturally are doing our best to fall asleep. But after 5 minutes, Clayton hollers out, "Okay, now everybody roll over and shift." We laughed so darn hard we couldn't get to sleep after that. I could go on and on with so many stories that I spent with Clayton. We had so much fun together. There's just so many wonderful times, and especially with our whole family. On Thanksgivings, Christmas, birthday dinners, many vacations. With all of our family, especially with Mom and Dad when they were still with us. Clayton played a major part in all the fun and the enjoyment at each and every family gathering. We're sure gonna miss you, Big Clayton, big time. Thank you.
Very nice, Jerry. Thank you.
Does anyone else have anything to say? Mike. It's the president of the Elites Car Club, Mike Brownwood.
Hi. Hear me now? As you can tell by what Jerry and Ron has been saying about Clayton, he was a great guy. And all I got to say is I'm going to miss him, and our club is really going to miss him. He was a valuable member of our car club. Thank you.